Stop for a moment before you scroll away, because this message might reach you at the exact moment your heart needs to hear it today. Many people carry a quiet struggle inside them that they rarely talk about openly. They try to live a good life, they try to make better choices, they promise themselves that this time they will change, yet somehow they find themselves repeating the same mistake again and again. And when that happens, a painful question begins to grow in their mind. What if I can't stop doing the things I hate? What if something is wrong with me? What if I am not strong enough to change? If you have ever asked yourself questions like these, you are not alone. Millions of people experience the same battle inside their hearts, the struggle between who they want to become and the habits that continue pulling them back. Many people believe that the moment someone decides to change, everything should become easy, but real life rarely works that way. Growth is often a process that takes time, patience, and persistence. Even people who sincerely want to live better lives sometimes fall into the same patterns again and again, and when this happens, it can create feelings of guilt, frustration, and disappointment. Some people even begin to believe that they have failed completely, but the truth is much deeper than that. The struggle itself is often a sign that your heart still cares about what is right. If a person truly had no desire for change, they would not feel pain after making a mistake. The fact that you hate the behavior means something important inside you is still alive. The teachings connected with the life of Jesus Christ often remind people that transformation does not always happen instantly. Sometimes growth begins with awareness before real change appears. People first become aware of the habits that are holding them back. This awareness can feel uncomfortable because it forces a person to face their weaknesses honestly, but it is also the first step toward improvement. Imagine someone who wants to become physically strong. They cannot simply decide one day that they are strong and suddenly possess great strength. Instead, they begin training their body slowly. At first, the exercises feel difficult, the muscles feel weak, and progress seems slow, but if they continue practicing every day, the body gradually adapts and becomes stronger over time. The same principle applies to personal growth. Breaking unhealthy habits requires patience, determination, and consistent effort. Another important truth about change is that many habits are connected to deeper emotional patterns. Sometimes people repeat behaviors not because they want to, but because those actions temporarily distract them from stress, loneliness, or anxiety. The habit becomes a way of coping with emotions that feel overwhelming. Understanding this connection can help people realize that the real battle is not only about stopping the behavior, but also about learning healthier ways to respond to those emotions. The teachings inspired by Jesus Christ often emphasize compassion alongside truth. Compassion reminds people that they are not defined only by their mistakes. Every person experiences moments of weakness. Every person faces inner battles. The important question is not whether someone has fallen, but whether they are willing to rise again. Many people lose hope because they believe that failure means the end of their journey, but failure is often a moment that reveals where growth is needed most. Imagine a person walking along a long road. They stumble and fall to the ground. For a moment, the fall may feel painful and discouraging. They may even feel embarrassed or ashamed, but if they remain on the ground, the journey cannot continue. The only way forward is to stand up again and keep walking. Life often follows the same pattern. Falling does not end the journey, refusing to rise again does. Another important lesson about personal growth is understanding that change rarely happens through willpower alone. Many people believe they must defeat their struggles purely through their own strength. But human beings are not designed to face every challenge alone. Support, encouragement, and wisdom from others can play a powerful role in transformation. This is why many spiritual teachings encourage community, guidance, and accountability. When people share their struggles honestly, they often discover that others are facing similar battles, and that realization can replace isolation with understanding. Another important step toward change is replacing harmful habits with healthier ones. Simply trying to stop a behavior without filling the space it leaves behind can make the struggle even harder. Imagine trying to remove a negative habit from your life while leaving a void where it once existed. Eventually, the mind may return to the familiar pattern because nothing new has replaced it. But when a person actively fills that Space with positive actions, learning, exercise, creativity, service, or meaningful relationships. The power of the old habit begins to weaken gradually. The mind develops new patterns that support growth instead of repeating the past. Another powerful principle is patience. Many people expect immediate results when they begin trying to change, but transformation often happens gradually. Progress may appear slow at first, and there may even be moments when it feels like nothing is improving, but every small step forward matters. Even when progress feels invisible, something is happening beneath the surface. Each time you resist a harmful pattern, you strengthen your ability to make better choices in the future. Each time you learn from a mistake, you gain wisdom that was not present before. Over time, these small improvements accumulate until one day you realize that you are no longer the same person you once were. The struggle that once controlled your life has lost much of its power because you refuse to give up during the process. And the most important message to remember during this journey is that change is always possible. No matter how long someone has struggled, no matter how many times they have failed, the opportunity to begin again still exists. Every new day offers another chance to take one step toward becoming the person you truly want to be. Now imagine something important about the human heart. Many people think the greatest problem in their life is the mistake they keep repeating, but the deeper struggle often happens in the mind long before the action appears. Every habit begins as a thought, a small quiet idea that enters the mind and slowly tries to convince a person that giving in will make life easier. In that moment, the mind may whisper that it is only a small thing, that it will not matter, that no one will notice. But the moment a person accepts that thought, it becomes easier for the behavior to follow. This is why learning to recognize thoughts early can change the entire direction of a person's life. When someone begins to notice the pattern, they gain power over it instead of being controlled by it. The teachings connected with the life of Jesus Christ often encouraged people to guard their hearts and minds carefully, because what grows inside the mind eventually shapes actions and character. If a person repeatedly allows negative thoughts to remain, those thoughts slowly grow stronger. But when a person chooses to replace those thoughts with truth, hope, and discipline, the direction of life begins to change. This process takes time and practice, because the brain naturally follows familiar pathways. Habits create mental roads that the mind travels again and again. The more often a road is used, the easier it becomes to travel. But when someone decides to change, they begin creating a new road. At first, that new road feels difficult and unfamiliar. The mind tries to return to the old path because it feels easier, yet with consistent effort, the new road slowly becomes stronger, and eventually it can replace the old one entirely. Another important truth is that guilt and shame are not the same thing. Guilt can sometimes help a person recognize when something needs to change, but shame goes much further. Shame tells a person that they are broken beyond repair, that they will never improve, that they are not worthy of a better future. These thoughts can become extremely heavy, and many people carry them silently, believing they must fight their battles alone. But real transformation begins when a person understands that mistakes do not erase their value. Every human being has experienced weakness at some point in life. Every human being has faced moments where they wished they had made a different choice. What matters most is the direction a person chooses after those moments. Growth begins when someone decides that failure will not define their future. Instead, it will become a lesson that guides them toward wisdom. Over time, people who refuse to give up develop a deeper strength than those who never struggled at all, because every time they fall and rise again, their resilience grows stronger and their understanding of life becomes deeper. There is another truth that many people overlook when they are fighting against habits they dislike. The environment surrounding a person often influences their choices more than they realize. Imagine trying to change your behavior while constantly remaining in situations that encourage the same old patterns. It becomes extremely difficult to move forward when everything around you pulls you backward. This is why many wise teachers throughout history encouraged people to create environments that support the life they want to build. Small changes in daily routines can produce powerful results. For example, choosing to spend time with people who encourage growth instead of negativity can make a huge difference. Surrounding yourself with positive influences, books, conversations, ideas, and communities that promote wisdom can slowly reshape your mindset in ways that make better choices easier over time. Another powerful step is learning to pause before reacting. Many habits happen automatically without conscious thought. Something triggers an emotional response and the person immediately reacts in the same familiar way, but when someone learns to pause even for a few seconds, they create space for a different decision in that moment. They can ask themselves an important question: will this choice move me closer to the life I want or further away from it? This simple pause can interrupt the automatic pattern and open the door to a new response. The teachings inspired by Jesus Christ often emphasize the importance of awareness, because awareness helps people see the deeper direction of their lives. When someone becomes aware of their thoughts, emotions and actions, they gain the ability to guide them rather than being controlled by them. Over time, this awareness develops into wisdom. Wisdom helps a person recognize which choices lead toward peace and which choices lead toward regret. The more a person practices awareness, the stronger this wisdom becomes. Eventually, the person begins to notice patterns they once ignored, and with that understanding, they gain greater freedom to choose a better path. Another reason many people struggle to break habits is because they expect perfection from themselves the moment they decide to change, but perfection is rarely how real growth works. Improvement usually happens gradually through many small victories along the way. Imagine a person climbing a mountain. The journey is long and sometimes exhausting. There may be moments when the climber slips or loses balance, but each step still moves them closer to the summit. If they focus only on the moments they slip, they may feel discouraged and quit, but if they focus on the progress they have made, they will find the motivation to keep climbing. Life often follows the same pattern. Each small improvement matters even when it seems insignificant. Choosing patience over anger, choosing honesty over deception, choosing discipline over laziness. These small decisions slowly build the foundation of a stronger character. Over time, the person who once felt trapped by old habits begins to notice something surprising: the behaviors that once felt impossible to resist no longer hold the same power. This transformation does not happen overnight, but it happens through consistency, determination, and a willingness to continue learning from experience. Another important lesson is forgiveness. Many people carry heavy regret about their past mistakes. They replay those memories repeatedly, believing they deserve to feel that pain forever, but holding on to regret too tightly can trap a person in the past. Forgiveness does not mean pretending mistakes never happened. Instead, it means choosing not to let those mistakes control the future. Learning from the past while still moving forward requires courage, yet it is one of the most powerful steps toward freedom. When people release the weight of constant self-condemnation, they often discover a renewed sense of hope, and that hope becomes the fuel that drives lasting change. If you have ever felt like you cannot stop repeating the same mistakes, remember this important truth: your struggle does not define your destiny. The very fact that you desire change proves that something inside you is still alive, still fighting, still hoping for a better future. Transformation rarely happens in a single dramatic moment. More often, it happens through hundreds of quiet decisions made day after day. Every time you choose to stand up after falling, you become stronger than before. Every time you learn from a mistake, you gain wisdom that moves you closer to the person you want to become. And even when progress feels slow, something powerful is happening beneath the surface. The habits that once controlled your life are slowly losing their grip because you refuse to surrender hope. The journey toward growth may feel long, but every step matters, every effort counts, and every moment of courage brings you closer to freedom. So if you feel discouraged today, remember that your story is not finished. The future still holds possibilities you have not yet seen. Keep moving forward, keep learning, keep choosing the path that leads toward wisdom, and one day you will look back and realize that the struggle you once feared actually shaped the strength you now carry within you.